We had the indoor, got our work in, did the things we had to do. It crowds you up, hurts you on deep balls, and some of your stuff you do, you got to change a little, but it really does allow you to work and get work in and practice better and things you got. But making progress, a lot of new things we put in today, working a lot of red zone. It's hard to throw the ball down in that, when you get on that +10, we worked a lot in that. Yesterday, offense hit about 5 out of every 6. Today, they covered them up. You got to learn how to play. If you learn how to play down on defense, there's not many windows. The only big guys are people making great plays. Our defense did a much better job in that today. I was very proud of that, the way we went. Getting better in the run game. Young guys, we keep putting them in different situations, handling different blitzes, getting off the field with them, let them handle those things as much as they can. It was harder today communicating in there because of crowd noise. I mean, as far as that goes, I mean, it was a good test for them in there, how we do that. But making progress about where I thought we'd be day 6. Offense wins some, defense wins some, so keep making progress. Attitudes are good, though. Work ethic's good.
Was it tough to kind of get going in the red zone, too, because guys were nervous about stepping over people and things like that?
No, well, I told them to be careful on the sidelines so we don't take, I don't want to hit some little kid, but I want the fans to see they're here today and we're practicing, that's what we practice. Put them on the sidelines, let them see, let them be part of it. We can adjust for one day or two to let those folks see what they had to see and be there. I'm just glad they were here and supportive that they came over and watched us. I'm very happy with that.
That doesn't hurt to show off the indoor, does it, to folks who may be recruits 2, 3, 4 years down the road?
Yes, exactly right. It doesn't hurt. And this shows you like there. And you looked out there today, it was sun shining.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything there, and they say you can't practice. That's why I used to get frustrated. I mean, you know what I mean? You didn't look, and all of a sudden it rains. You don't see a lot of lightning, but if you're within 15 miles, and so this allows you to stay on schedule and the things you do. But yeah, definitely. Well, today though, the way we designed some things. I wanted to, with defense, we had to look at certain route combinations. And there's, like, where we do half-line run, pass, there's a side that will have a chance to work most of the time. And when they have coverage, there's a side that doesn't. So you're thrown into a dead side. So from that, too, from our point, I want them to learn what not to throw into as well as what to throw into. So, I mean, the side you're supposed to make the completion on, we got to make the completion. If there's a side that's a dead, sometimes both sides are good, sometimes they're not. You don't know what they're going to play. So we had to learn that, but that takes a lot of practice with those young, even receivers. You got to understand how your route changes. And then DBs, yesterday they were given too much ground. They were creating too much space for us, and we were throwing it easily. Now today they started squatting, setting, and really denying balls and played really good. So it's a great drill. Sometimes it's usually one side usually dominates or the other, and they go back and forth.
Coach, you talked earlier this week about some of the true freshmen coming in. Finally today we got to see Kermit and Jesus make some really nice plays.
They do. They got ball skills. And Isaiah had been making them all camp too. Ryan Green's been making them. Jalen Ramsey, Marquez White on the other side. I mean, all those guys, just jumping. Different guys, those skill guys out wide. But those guys made nice plays. They can run. They got ball skills, running good routes. Learning, that's a good thing. They're learning quickly. They really are. Much farther along than a lot of the freshmen we've had as far as mentally learning the assignments and things.
It looks like PJ and Jalen, they could be in line for some playing time in terms of what you've seen from them.
Oh yeah, they're playing really well. PJ's playing well. Darby's getting back. Another week and a half or so, you'll see Darby get back in the swing of it. He's really working himself. I say a week, because I don't think it'll be a week and a half. He's gotten better every day, but PJ's doing well. Jalen's doing well. We got a good group of guys there. They're all should hopefully get playing time.
When you recruited Jalen, was it strictly as a corner? Did you think he might be a safety?
He can do both. He could do both right now. Right. You want to teach him to find out what he can do farther away from the ball, because those guys are harder to find, you know what I mean? Special guys. So we could do that, but he could be a
6 days in, how good has he been for you?
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Really good.
What happened to Ryan Hopefield? Is he out?
No, he'd be back about a week, I think. We were picking up a ball.
Yeah.
A fumble at the end of the play, and they thought it was over, and he was standing, and the linebacker ran in and his knee just did that, and it just did a little MCL sprain. He should be back in about a week and a half, something like that. Maybe just a slight sprain.
Well, Kelvin made some circus catches today. Is he doing that more consistently?
Much more consistent. He's a guy like down there. They got guys covered, but that's why you got to play in the red zone. You play it right, and you got to have those mismatch guys that can go up over top of people and make plays. And we were trying to do that. We tried to put him in some tough situations where I knew they would do it, and then he'd have to go up. And I want to see him, even when he's guarded, make a play. You know what I mean? And you get good people down there. That's what you want to see, those great red zone players. And he did a real nice job today. Made 3 or 4 nice plays.
You talked about him at his ACC kickoff about last year and kind of putting pressure on himself, thinking he had to always make the spectacular plays.
Because everything y'all heard, when with our players, they all talked about him. So everybody's waiting to go, oh, you're waiting to see a touchdown every 2 seconds. And I think it bothered him. You know what I'm saying? I think he tried too hard to always, and he didn't realize if he caught a slant or a drag, well, heck, that's a good thing. You don't catch touchdowns every play. And I think when you're young like that, then you say, well, you feel like you're not doing anything. You know what I mean? I think he would frustrate himself sometimes. I think it's part of growing up and being mature.
Did you talk to him about that
Yes.
this year?
Off
Since the end of the
season, everything.
Yes.
And then even in spring, I started to see it again. And we called him in, and I said, listen, you just play the play. If it's a drag, it's a drag. If it's a slant, it's a slant. If it's a big time go, then we got it. You know what I mean? Just play. And I said, you're doing great. And we had that talk, and he finally opened up about it. You know, and you can see how you pressure and thinking you have to be spectacular because the players are all talking about what you can do, and they see plays like you saw a couple today. But you ain't gonna get a chance to make those 2 or 3 times a game. You know, you're not gonna make great plays like that. Just be consistent. And we talked through it, and I think it's part of his maturity. He's done a really nice job of handling that and practicing hard in detail.
Have you guys moved Shane Broxy a little bit to tight end, getting some tight end?
Yes, we do because he's fit. Those fullbacks and tight ends are all interchangeable.
Yeah.
Give you another big body there, and he's always been a hybrid back and forth. We've kind of trained him the same way.
Yeah. Well, and we talk about versatility a lot. He's a guy that's played defense, played offense, kind of been a little bit of
big bodies. You move them around.
How's Matthew Thomas?
Learning very well. I mean, you notice corners and people farther away from the ball because they flash. But I'm telling you, when you're in the middle linebacker where he's at and all that stuff happening, the multiplicity of things that happen is much greater. And he is really learning. And when he's at, I mean, he can run and play. But I'm going to tell you, that whole linebacker group's a good group. Freddie's been doing well. Hoskins, Levenberry. Levenberry's physical, man. Big and strong, moves well. Those guys, but Matthew's been playing I've been very pleased with him. Very pleased.
Away from the field, has he kind of assimilated well with the group? I mean, given everything that kind of happened before he got here, it seemed like he.
See, those guys all, as crazy as this sounds to you, maybe behind the scenes, that's went on in about half the players on our team. At some time, this one just happened to get out in public. I mean, they understand all the craziness some of those guys do that goes on in recruiting when you're highly recruited like a lot of our guys are. So from that standpoint, our guys never really, that whole thing, they just were just hoping he was here. They were actually trying to call him and tell him to come here. Didn't even worry. It never fazed them. They never looked at it in any way, shape, or form differently because at some point in time, they've had some scenario, maybe not as extreme, but something in their recruitment a lot of times that they understood where that's coming from. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Jimbo, on defense, jersey number 6, you got 2 guys who are possibly first teamers that have it. We talked to them today. They seem to think they're going to keep that jersey number. How's that going to work?
They can keep it.
Yeah.
That's their problem, not mine.
They're not going to be on this field at the same time.
Exactly right. If we need one at the end, then the other one got to come off the field. That's their choice.
I think they might change their minds.
We'll find out. We'll find out how important playing is.
Who would be in charge of keeping track of
So everybody
who's on
thinks
the
ain't my decision. Yeah. I told them it's not my decision. That number's that important to you. You sit right there and wave at the fan. Smile at it. And we'll see. When they asked me the same thing. I said, well, when that one plays, that one won't. And when you're on the field, you won't. That's the only thing I know.